So good morning everyone, and today we're going to be talking about the Nad C368. However, before I get to that, I wanted to do sort of this preamble video saying that unfortunately it's not my best work, and I do apologize for that, but it is what it is. Truthfully, I've been sick. I've had kind of a sinus infection that's caused an ear infection. Luckily I'm on medication now and it's getting better every day, but still, it's kind of affected my wantingness to want to do this, obviously. But I wanted to put the video out there and I wanted to get it done and kind of talk about it and that sort of thing, and kind of share my experience with using the Nad C368. So anyway, while it isn't my best video, I do feel I get my point across very nicely and very well. And so anyway, here we go. So I originally had the budget system I reviewed a few months ago, several months ago in fact, the NAD system with the C316, the C538 CD player, and of course the Mission LX2 Mark IIs. And it was a great system. It really truly was a fantastic system. Sounded great, worked great. But over time, in that budget aspect, I had this idea of, well, it would be nice to have a system that's more of a full-featured integrated. It's got a phono stage, got built-in streaming, built-in DAC. It's got built-in everything, as opposed to having to, run everything to these exterior boxes. It seems like in my hi-fi journey, the more time goes on, the more I realize that I don't want to have this overcomplication of componentry. I don't like having a separate DAC and a separate streamer and a separate phono stage and a separate preamp and a separate this and a separate that. While ultimately you can achieve better sound quality going that route, I just like the idea of an all-in-one box. You plug everything into it, it works, it functions, it does the job, you turn it on, you turn the volume, and it just does everything you want. But I wanted to do it well. And in that respect, this thing works really well. I had no hiccups with the blue sound. I've tried the Ethernet, which I primarily used, but I've also tried the Wi-Fi option for the Blue OS, and just the functionality, the stability of everything has been top notch, no problems. One small issue with my unit I noticed when I unpacked it is the lettering on the front of the unit, with the exception of the stuff over here, but where it says hybrid digital DAC amplifier and source and volume right here, they're actually offset, like they're misprinted on the front of the unit. But no big deal. It's, doesn't really bother me. It works regardless. It functions how it should either way. But yeah, functionality-wise, stability-wise, it's been fantastic. It's worked great and functioned great. And as I said, no problems, which has been just outrageously great. Sound quality is actually very much what you'd come to expect from NAD. There is a small difference, which I'll get to in a sec. It's very robust sounding. It's very, kind of bass-driven. There's a lot of great bass coming out of this thing, especially when paired with the speakers I got, which I'll also show in a second. But yeah, bass is really its strongest quality. It has this great way with bass. Of course, you expect that with Class D, and this does not disappoint. The mid-range shines really, really well. It is a little bit veiled in the top end, but that has been NAD's characteristics forever. Their kind of sonic signature. And sound staging, left to right separation, and that aspect of the sound quality has actually been really good, and actually been probably one of the best I've heard in a while from an integrated amplifier. Really truly has. It's actually its best quality in my opinion. Sound staging and left to right separation and delineation. It's been really, really good. Now, about halfway through my usage of it, I had this idea, well, it is a preamplifier. You can use it as a preamplifier. I wonder how it would sound matched with a preamp. Get something Class AB amplifier. Let's try that out. And it just so happened one of my local guys I hit up from time to time who has components, and I've sold him stuff, that kind of thing. He had an older Parasound Model 275, not the newer version 2, but the older version 1, which came out in like 2005 or 6, somewhere in there. And he had one of those, and I thought, well, hey man, let's talk to him, let's see what he's got going on. And yeah, picked it up, only a couple $100. You can't beat that for an 80-watt Class AB power amplifier that works and plays fantastically. But anyway, went and picked it up and ran the pre-outs here to the power amp, which I have over here, but sounded and works fantastic. And I did notice, however, that it doesn't really change the sonic quality of this experience. Now, the one thing I notice, and it's really hard to kind of really hard to kind of verbalize this, but I'll try it. It has great dynamic. The 368 has great dynamics. It has great speed, and it has a great way with tone and the notes. However, it has this sort of sensation, and if you read some of the reviews of the 368 online, one of the things that kind of pop up across numerous reviews is they talk about has this sort of lack of rhythmic ability, but I wouldn't call it that. What I would say is, think of something like a Rega amp or a Name amp, where it does have that great rhythmic quality. And if you can imagine listening to the music, and you're listening, and what you hear is kind of the beat. You're listening along with the beat of the music. The amp allows you to do that. With the 368, I get the impression that it's kind of playing behind the beat just a little bit, if that makes sense. I really don't, and I apologize, I really don't know how to say that better than that. But it really has this sense of it's kind of playing slightly behind the beat, the rhythm of the music. You still get the rhythm, you still get the kind of the driving force of the music, but it just feels like it's just a little bit behind. And when combining with the Parasound Model 275, I had this thought, well, maybe it's the amplifier module in here. It uses a Hypex UCD module. Maybe that's what's causing it. But no, in fact, it isn't causing that. What's causing it is the preamplifier section. Because when I hook up the preamp here to the Model 275 power amp, that being Class AB, a whole different topology, everything, you'd think that it might change because it's the module, but no, it doesn't change. You still get that kind of behind the rhythm kind of vibe of what you're listening to. Now, when I just play the Model 275 with another preamp I have, it sounds completely different. But as soon as I plug this into it, I get that sense of kind of behind the rhythm. And I don't know how to describe it better than that, but that's what came into my head to how to say it. But yeah, other than that aspect, as I said, I would think and I would say that the majority of the sonic quality of this thing comes out of its preamp. To that effect, I actually took, and let me grab it, I took which I'm going to still give away in the video, I just haven't done it yet. I took my iFi Zen-Air DAC, which you can use as a preamp, and hooked that into the 368 and changed its line input 1 into processor input. It's all complicated, but you get it. Processor input, and then use that as a preamp into this as a power amp. And the sonic quality was completely different. So basically at the end of it, this thing's sound is dominated by its preamplifier, which sounds great. It sounds great. It just has this slight sort of behind the rhythm quality. And I wish I could explain it better than that, kind of what I hear, but that's what I hear. Anyway, so yeah, that is it. Will I be getting rid of it, trading it, any of that kind of stuff? Maybe. I haven't really decided. I do think it's a great amplifier. I really do. I really, truly do. I think it's a great product. It has great sound. And like other NAD products I've had, it's been basically rock solid. I know sometimes people have had issues with NAD, and they have an opinion that NAD is crap or whatever, quality-wise is not so good. But yeah, in my opinion, it actually works and sounds really, really good. I don't see how, people have that opinion. Every NAD product I've had has been faultless for the most part. I mean, other than the writing here is a little off, that's not a huge thing for me, not really, because everything still works and functions just like you'd expect and just like it's supposed to. So, but yeah, it's a great amplifier. It is definitely a step up over the 316. You get a better sense of maturity of the sound, everything. So it is definitely a step up. And before I get off this video, I thought I'd show you guys the speakers I got with these to kind of pair with them. And I've never owned a pair of them. And this was actually the great surprise of the system. These are the PSB Alpha P5s, kind of this metal grill faceplate thing. It's actually a really nice speaker. It really truly is. It really pairs well with the NAD. And of course, there's the Parasound Model 275.